NFL teams don't usually beg, but when it came to Shedeur Sanders, front offices across the league were practically on their knees, calling the Cleveland Browns with trade offers they hoped would be too tempting to refuse. Yet Cleveland's answer was firm: no deal. When a city's hope rests on the shoulders of a young quarterback, every decision surrounding him becomes magnified. That's exactly what's happening in Cleveland right now.
Sure, I think he's going to be a star talent in the NFL. I think he has the highest ceiling in the quarterback room, and I do think he was slept on. So I'll give him that Shedeur has not gotten reps with the ones, and that's frustrated me. And the Browns' unofficial depth chart, having him at 4, has also frustrated me. But I don't think that's going to stay that way for long at all. Right? Pickett is on his way down the depth chart in no time, and I do think that part could be handled better by Cleveland. But don't blame the Browns for that. Every team in the NFL slept on him for 5 rounds. Heck, the Saints took Tyler Shuck ahead of Shedeur Sanders. It's blasphemous. So it's not Cleveland this time. We can't put the blame on the Browns. I see people saying, trade Shedeur so he can actually have a chance to play somewhere else. It's not Cleveland.
The Browns are at the center of a storm after refusing multiple trade offers for Shedeur Sanders, a player who hasn't yet cemented himself as a starter in the NFL, but has already become a symbol of possibility for both the franchise and the city. Teams around the league were practically begging the Browns to let Sanders go. Yet Cleveland stood firm. Why? And will that decision become a triumph or a mistake that haunts them for years to come?
Doing in the community, the way he's ruined, the way he's helped people that was in need, and the way he spends time talking to kids. Listen, people remember that stuff. It's gonna be it's a huge storm coming that Shedeur got to get out on that field. And I think when he does, he's gonna do well. I mean, right now we seen him in the preseason. He had his good game, he had his bad game. Right now he's just sitting back, answering, doing everything the right way, just taking notes and consistently getting better. He's doing it in the quiet. Nobody's really trying to say nothing to him. He ain't really.
It's rare for a third-string quarterback to generate such a frenzy. Normally, players buried that deep on the depth chart don't attract much outside attention. But Sanders isn't just any quarterback. His name carries weight. His college career drew national attention, and his potential still excites scouts across the league. When news leaked that multiple teams were calling the Browns, hoping to pry Sanders away, it wasn't surprising. What was surprising was just how aggressive some of those inquiries were. Rival front offices viewed him as a possible franchise quarterback, someone worth developing, even if he hadn't yet proven himself at the NFL level. Some insiders even suggested the Browns could have secured valuable draft capital by moving Sanders now. For a team that's always juggling roster holes and trying to climb out of the shadows of past failures, that kind of opportunity is hard to ignore. Yet the Browns said no.
That's just 2 years ago, Browns fans, that Cleveland was in the playoffs, and Ward wasn't kidding. Joe was balling in his last 5 games in the regular season. Look at this. 300 yards, 4 straight games. Nearly 400. It wasn't until the Texans playoff game where he threw the 2 pick sixes and the magical run came to an end. But Flacco, 4-1 in his last 5 games of the regular season and was cooking NFL defenses. So it is something to get excited about, right? I like the energy that Denzel Ward is bringing to having Flacco be the starter. And we should get excited about it too, Browns fans. I know if you're like me and you want a quarterback of the future, whether that's Sanders or Gabriel, or wherever Cleveland thinks gives them the best chance to build going forward, it's still a good idea to have Flacco start a couple weeks.
To understand Cleveland's decision, you have to look past the depth chart. On paper, Sanders is QB3, someone who might never see the field in 2025. But the Browns don't just see his current position, they see his trajectory. Shedeur Sanders entered the league with eye-catching college stats. He played with poise, showed accuracy, and displayed leadership qualities that scouts love. While some teams passed him over in the draft, the Browns saw him as undervalued, a mispriced asset, as one analyst put it. That's why they spent a 5th-round pick on him, believing he could deliver far more than his draft slot suggested. For Cleveland, Sanders isn't just a backup, he's a lottery ticket, one who might pay off in the most dramatic way if given the right coaching and development time. Trading him now would mean cashing out early, potentially before his true value is revealed.
been a Cleveland Brown fan my entire life. I happen to be 68 years old. I was sitting on the floor with my father in 1964 watching the Cleveland Browns beat the Baltimore Colts' ass. I was 7 years old. I watched that. I watched Jim Brown get up, be the last man into the huddle, all of that. I've watched us not win nothing since 1964. And you're gonna sit here and ask me about a damn quarterback? Joe Flacco will be playing a few games, but his old ass gonna get hurt. Shedeur lasted this long in the draft is beyond me, but it's okay. They did what they did, and everybody knows what was done. We ain't gotta beat the dead horse. Now, the game I saw Shedeur play was an impressive game. The second time, they put 4-5 linemen in the game that had never played football, organized, PAL, or no other league. Now, I am praying to God that Shedeur gets an opportunity to show what he can really do. And I think that would be probably the best thing for him. But knowing the Cleveland Browns, they dumbass gonna trade him.
To really appreciate the Sanders situation, you have to understand Cleveland's tortured quarterback history. The Browns have cycled through more than 24 starters since their return to the NFL in 1999. For fans, every new face brings a sliver of hope, only for disappointment to follow more often than not. That's why Sanders feels different. He represents something fresh, something the city hasn't had in years, a quarterback with both on-field promise and off-field charisma. Even if he's not starting yet, the idea of Shedeur Sanders matters to the fan base. Trading him now would risk crushing that fragile sense of optimism, and the Browns know it. One of the most fascinating aspects of this story is that Shedeur Sanders isn't just making an impact inside the stadium. He's already winning hearts in Cleveland through his work in the community. From sponsoring the Garden Valley Fun Fest to organizing local events, Sanders has embraced the city in a way that many professional athletes never do. He isn't just cashing game checks. He's investing time and energy into uplifting people. That matters, especially in a city where sports aren't just entertainment, but a lifeline of pride. The Browns recognize this. By keeping Sanders, they aren't just protecting a player, they're protecting a community connection. In many ways, Sanders has become a bridge between the franchise and its fan base, reinforcing that the team is about more than just wins and losses. Of course, the NFL is still a business, and no decision is purely sentimental. The Browns front office weighed the financial and strategic implications of trading Sanders. Moving him could have brought draft picks or veteran help, but it also would have left them vulnerable if injuries struck at quarterback. Depth at the position is invaluable, especially in a league where one hit can change a season. By holding on to Sanders, Cleveland maintains flexibility. If he develops as they hope, he could one day become their starter, or at least a valuable asset worth far more in a future trade. In essence, the Browns are betting on patience, trusting that waiting will yield greater rewards than a quick deal today.